I am in contact with Jacksonic, so mini interview session, you feel me? Coming in 3, 2, 1. First off, I'd like to personally say trap plus farming equals never heard it before. I feel like that's
unique.
You're right. And then for him to be in New York City, that's like even more like whoa. Like where do you even have the space to do that? Queens.
Upstate New York.
But he said New York City. So unless he's like pushing the boundary, like he's like in Bronx, that's like upstate New York, but like could be considered Bronx and still consider upstate, like, you know, that area. Like, you know, he might be in some place that's like weird.
Yeah.
The first question, Jacksonic, like, how did that become your stage name? We are curious.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Eat Vegetables NYC, Jacksonic. I'm here today with Benny. Thank you for having me, Benny. So my real name is Jackson. And when I was a kid, you know, I think my brother used to like call me Jacksonica. You know, I think it was kind of a riff on Dracula or something like that. But when I first started rapping, I was using my initials like JSP. But, you know, I dropped that after like a year or two, you know, when I was young in high school. And I switched up to Jacksonic because I just thought it sounded dope, kind of fit my style at the time. And, you know, I still feel like it fits my style because, you know, I'm pretty genuine, you know, Jackson, like my name is right there, but like, you know, I'm a little bit extra. So, Jacksonic.
As I said before, this is the first time that we heard of teaching how to farm and trap together. So, what compelled you to do that? What was your inspiration?
How did I get into doing the whole farm trap fusion? You know, that's a great question. So I've been rapping for as long, you know, I mean, basically since I was 10. I wrote my first rap back then. I've been writing songs even longer than that. I've loved hip hop for a long time. I started taking rapping seriously in high school. I used to do like boom bap, like, you know, I mean, when I was in high school, you know, 2007, 2008, you know what I mean? It was like punchlines like Lil Wayne, you know, and like trap was already in the works, you know what I mean, on the low. It hadn't really been popularized yet, and I didn't really get into it. 2011, I started really getting into like, you know, how Wiz Khalifa and Juicy J were on some, like they were already getting into that, but I still wasn't really even trying to do stuff like that, and I definitely wasn't even farming either until like 2012. I started farming right around the time like Chief Keef was getting big, and I was getting into Chief Keef. Like Chief Keef and Soulja Boy, I started really getting into them, and they were kind of real big influences on my departure from boom bap. You know, before that, I was really into MF Doom, you know, and then, you know, like Kanye, you know, he also, when he embraced the trap sound, you know, it became more mainstream, became more popular, and it was hard to avoid. And, you know, I really like Chief Keef a lot, and Ball Out in them, and it influenced my style. You know, I wanted to make fun music like that. And I started farming. And, you know, as I started farming, I started just rapping about vegetables. It started integrating into my regular raps. And, you know, by 2015, I was just like, yo, I want to make an album that's like all about farming and really embraces like this farming aspect of hip hop, you know, because I thought it was a good message, and I also just wanted to like show people like, yo, you can make a fire album about anything. It doesn't just have to be about what you typically hear. And I wanted to like encourage people to be themselves. I didn't want people to feel like, oh, my life's not interesting enough, I can't rap about it. It's like, yo, whatever you do, whether you're farming, you know, whether you're a plumber, you know what I mean, whether you're, you know, a student, whatever you're studying, whatever, if you're a chef, whatever you're into, I feel like everyone's got something interesting to share and, you know, an important perspective, and you can't be afraid to shine your light. So that was a big part of it. But then also, I also just love trap music, and I love farming, and I love making people feel good with my music. So that's how I did the farm trap stuff. Although I want to say that like my more recent stuff, especially How to Farm, was a lot more influenced by the current trap scene in China, which is, of course, influenced by like the trap scene in the United States. Obviously, it's more like Travis Scott, Young Thug influenced, who in turn then influenced like rappers like Voodoo Montana and Jello Rio, who then influenced me. I'm definitely big on the Chinese trap scene for sure.
If you could go open a show for an artist, who would it be?
Let's see. If I could open for any artist, who would it be? That's a great question. Honestly, I don't know. It's been so long since shows have even been open. I feel like I'm gonna just get into a little long-winded answer for this one because I feel like there's so many ways to go with it. So many artists I would love to open for. Definitely Kendrick. To me, Kendrick is like the best artist, the best writer in the game. It's like he's the obvious answer because I feel like obviously not everyone thinks that, and you could say Drake or saying you could say a lot of people. I'm a huge fan of hip hop as a culture, and I'm rocking with most artists, but Kendrick, his albums are serious and I fuck with them heavy, and so he would probably be top of the list. Young Thug, I feel like it would be so turnt opening for him, like that would be fire. I gotta say, like, it would be cool to open for someone like Jay Critch, who's like more of like, a local, like to New York. Mess with him heavy here in New York. So, and I like his swag, like Jay Critch. I feel like that would be fun to do a show for him, or like Higher Brothers too, honestly, because I like their music so much. I would love to open for the Higher Brothers, but really there's so many talented artists in the game. I'm leaving a lot off, but that's the music that's kind of fun for me. But yeah, Kendrick for sure, couldn't miss that opportunity.
What is the most useless talent you have?
A useless talent of mine. Well, it's not necessarily useless, but if there's one talent of mine that I haven't really exactly figured out what to do with yet, it's kind of drawing because I love drawing. Actually, I love drawing. I love anime. I love manga, and it's kind of difficult. I've managed to kind of keep up drawing and get back into it over the years while I've been farming and rapping, but I haven't quite figured out how to integrate that, as successfully as like I've really figured out how to create this farm rap fusion, which utilizes both my passion for farming and my passion for hip hop, and I haven't been figure out how to integrate my passion for drawing into that. Aside from maybe doing one of my own album artworks here and there, I wouldn't say it's a useless talent, but it's kind of a random talent that it's also a random passion of mine that I still love pursuing, but I kind of like that it's also not as at the forefront of my life as rap, which is kind of something which I have to put my ego into. I have to like be that person, that Jacksonic, whereas like with art, it's more anonymous. I can kind of just do it. No one really has to know who I am to appreciate my artwork. So that's like a random useless talent. Don't really want to say useless, but that's the best thing I feel like that could fit into that category.
If you could change anything about the music industry, what would that be?
That's a great question. You know what I mean? Obviously, in terms of the actual industry side, there's a lot of stuff in terms of like that if artists could get proper monetization from Spotify, or if there was more encouragement for artists, I feel like really there's so many aspects of our society, especially in America, that like could be changed for the better. Obviously from the agricultural aspect to the educational aspect, I try to address a lot of that stuff in my music. But I feel like, it's kind of like what I was saying about before. Like I want to inspire more people to utilize their voice and to like be true to themselves and show people like you don't have to put on an image, or you don't have to rap about what you think you're supposed to rap about, or what you think is going to sell. Like I want to encourage people to be themselves, and I think the music industry could do a better job of embracing that, or encouraging young artists, teaching young artists like business literacy. The music industry is so popping, and especially like the scene today is so widely embraced that like there could be a lot more like school programs and just like outreach to like young people who are interested in like mentorship programs based around music that could be like, great places for like intergenerational, culture. In my experience, there hasn't been like really great cultural centers that like get developing artists together and allow them to like work together. And like, I feel like there's tons of like dope artists in New York City who, there's not really like great ways for everyone to kind of get together and collab. And I feel like, there's a lot of competitive mindedness in the music industry and, in general. And I feel like just because people aren't the same or someone has a different style than you or has different interests than you doesn't mean that you guys can't collab and make something dope together, because I feel like everyone has their own experiences. And just like in the garden or something, you know what I mean? Like diversity is great. And the more different people with different talents and different interests you have working together, the broader the scope of your message and impact is going to be. So I think, more community, more encouragement for people to be experimenting, trying different things, and more accepting of people who are trying that stuff.
What is next for you?
So what's next? What's next for Jacksonic? What's next for Eat Vegetables? Honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out. I got a couple singles lined up. I got more music ready. I'm going to be dropping more music projects. I'm hoping to get some type of fun gardening content going this summer, whether it's just going to be me in my backyard with my backyard garden, or my terrace garden as it were, or like maybe I'm hoping to do like community trips to gardens around the city. I haven't been, I stopped farming in 2019, so I haven't been farming lately. I've just been gardening on my own, and I've been trying to figure out like if I want to go work for a farm. I'm part of me hasn't been so excited to just volunteer to just work for, I just want to be a farm worker. Like I'd rather be doing community work. I'd rather, if I find a farm that I want to work for, I want it to be a good fit in that I'm not just like laboring, but that the farm has a mission that falls in line with the type of stuff I want to do. I'm not just trying to be a laborer and grow produce. I really want to, do work that has meaning, and not to say that farm laborers don't have meaning. Like I've done that work. I think it's amazing, and it's super important and undervalued in our society. But I would like to work for like a farm that has a specific mission to that the food is going to communities without access to proper organic food, or some type of farm. Like I've been looking into there are a lot of really great farms in New York State and all around the country that are doing work for like people in food deserts and stuff like that. And I would love to get involved in something like that. I've been taking some classes and trying to figure out exactly what's the best step for me. So I'm going to be doing something like that in that regard. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be spreading my message through the music, collaborating with other artists. I've got some exciting collaborations coming up. Some people who, you might not be expecting me to work with. We're going to be dropping some fire soon. So, I got a lot more music on the way, and hopefully some cool veggie stuff too. I'm going to figure out how to keep this Eat Vegetables movement going, as things open back up.
Thank you so much for answering our questions.
You already know it's your boy Jacksonic. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so great, Benny. I love your channel. You already know. Teach you how to farm in the Northeast.